just my driving impression. I've had this for 6 months now. It's comfortable. It's very comfortable. The seats are deceptively comfortable. I've racked up, 3 hours at a time driving this, and it doesn't have anything, that's annoying about it. Any aches or pains in the seat. The ride is soft and compliant, but it's also very controlled, and it's confidence inspiring. It drives more like a car than it does an SUV. It doesn't feel ungainly or top heavy or anything that you would associate with an SUV, which this is not a very big SUV, and it's definitely not very tall, so you would expect that. Driving dynamics are, even though it's all-wheel drive, and even though it's all-wheel drive with a differential, it drives very much like a front-wheel drive vehicle, and that might be attributed purely to the fact that the entire engine sits in front of the front axle. It's nose heavy, and at the limits of traction, it understeers. It understeers tremendously. That's all it does. There is no oversteer. I don't know if there is a way to make it oversteer. If you add lots of power, it will oversteer, but under normal driving conditions, at the limit of adhesion, like if you're taking an on-ramp and it's wet road and you start losing traction, the front loses traction and you understeer. It's not bad understeer, the stability management system kind of reins you in, but it's still understeer. There's a lot more front wheel slipping than back wheel slipping. It's good. It's good for an all-wheel drive SUV with a V6. If it was a hybrid or something extravagant like that, you would expect better. But for what it is, I'm perfectly happy with the gas mileage. Definitely have no problem with that. Power is very good. This V6 has lots of power down low, and it carries all the way up to red line. Very sporty engine. This is a 6-speed automatic transmission, and it never feels like I need extra gears because I'm out of the power band. It feels like I'm always in the power band all of the time, regardless of what gear I'm in. The transmission does an excellent job. It doesn't hunt for gears. It doesn't do anything strange. It's not jerky. The transitions are smooth and seamless. You can hear it, and you can see it on the tach, but it doesn't feel out of place. It doesn't feel like, it doesn't feel like it's doing anything strange. Everything it is doing is exactly what you would expect it to do. I would go so far as to say this transmission for a 6-speed works flawlessly. Now, would I want an 8-speed? An 8-speed would be nice. Do I need an 8-speed? Not really. For what it is, 6 speeds gets the job done in very good fashion. And it's even geared so that at highway speeds, I'm only turning about 2,500 RPM. So it makes for a nice relaxing drive. The engine isn't spinning excessively fast and making a lot of noise inside the cabin. It's actually a very quiet, very well-behaved engine. Overall, the car is very quiet and very well-behaved, even at highway speeds. I drove a 2012 Volkswagen Tiguan with the 2-liter turbocharged inline 4-cylinder before. I drove one from here down to Miami, which is right at about 300 miles, and then I had to go pick up some stuff and then turn around and come all the way back up. And the 2-liter turbocharged inline 4-cylinder engine is exceptionally smooth. It is very, very smooth. It feels peppy. It doesn't feel laden down or lethargic like you would get in a turbocharged engine. Sometimes the bottom end feels slow and lethargic. That one felt peppy just off of idle all the way up. Really nice engine. This is not that. This is the V6. Also feels very peppy from just over idle all the way up. So they're both really nice engines. The reason I say that, make reference to that 4-cylinder, is because that is the other engine that comes in this. The V6 is optional, which is what I have, and then the base engine is the 2-liter turbo. I don't know that you would really pick one over the other. This engine makes about 50 horsepower, 60 horsepower more than a 4-cylinder, which would stand to reason. It's a bigger engine, more cylinders. But if you don't need that extra power, if you're never gonna tow and you're just gonna drive this car and commute, road trips, vacation, whatever, I don't know that you would need the V6. I plan on doing towing. I actually bought a tow hitch for this that I'm gonna install, and I'll probably make a video of doing that. But if I wasn't planning on doing any towing with this, I wouldn't care if I had the 4-cylinder or the V6. They're both equally smooth. They're both very refined. The Volkswagen 4-cylinder turbo is a very refined engine, exceptionally so. It's just a matter of what you plan on doing. If you're honest with yourself and you know, look, I'm not going to do a lot of heavy hauling. I don't need the extra 60 horsepower that the V6 gives me. Get the 4-cylinder. Nothing wrong with it. Nothing wrong with it at all. And in fact, the 4-cylinder has an 8-speed automatic, not the 6-speed that this comes with. So those extra gears kind of help make up for the difference in power. Not 100%, but it helps a bit. So even though I got the V6, I wouldn't be against getting the 4-cylinder, and you shouldn't be either. You should test drive the 4-cylinder, test drive the V6, see if the difference in power is enough to warrant going for the premium, the upscaleness of the V6. I wouldn't say the worst fuel economy, because the difference in fuel economy is negligible. The main difference is the maintenance cost, I guess. The V6 would be a little bit harder to maintain. They both call for premium. I put regular in mine. Nothing has happened, But overall, really nice car. Really nice driving. I mean, I find myself driving around in this unnecessarily just because I enjoy driving it. If there was anything in there. That's why I just opened it. I just looked up and I remembered that it was there. I never ever use that thing. I tell you what I do use, and they're tiny. I use these sun visors, and these things are minuscule. This is like 4 inches long. It needs to come down about 2 more inches because I'm not exactly short. I'm 5'8". Okay, I'm not a basketball player, but I'm 5'8". And with this seat adjusted comfortably for me, there's about an hour and a half when the sun is going down in the evening where it is simply too low for this to be of any use. Okay, there's like this much angle of sunshine that's in my eye because the sun visor is simply too short. It's tiny. Like, this is probably the tiniest sun visor on any car, except for my Jag. I had an XJS, and that was just like a little flap. That wasn't even a sun visor. But overall, This sun visor is surprisingly small. It's tiny, and unless the sun is a good distance above the horizon, it's pretty much useless. I wish YouTube would let you play music on your videos, because I would play music for you, because the sound system, this is Bang & Olufsen sound system. This is by far the best sound system on any vehicle that I've ever owned. This infotainment center, so there's a screen up here that gives you information, but all the controls are down here on the center console and around the shifter. They go from one end of the shifter around and down to the other side. I will say, when you drive this car regularly, if this is your personal vehicle and you're daily driving this, you get so used to where these buttons are that you don't even look down to find your button. I know my navigation, I know my car button is next to it, I know the radio button is on the other side, and I know my media button is on the other side. And then the 4 quadrant buttons around the middle, which I know you can't see it, so you don't know what I'm talking about, but they coincide with the menu options that are on the screen. So I've heard people say that with the Mazda not having the touch screen and having controls down here, that the manufacturer said that it makes you take your eyes off the road for less time. That's absolutely true. That is absolutely true with this. Having the controls down here and knowing where everything is, once you get used to it, I'll look over for a split second, but most of the time it's like I'm typing. I don't even look down to see where the buttons are. A lot of new cars, they throw so much information at you. You know, the dashboard doesn't even have the speed and the tack anymore. It just has all kinds of irrelevant, stupid information. They have leaves on there and all kind of graphics and stuff distracting you from what you need to see. This is clean, very well laid out. I absolutely love the dash layout of this. And then I have my navigation here, and up here I have my direction. You know, everything that I need, nothing that I don't. I absolutely love how simple the layout of this car is. It makes me want to drive it. I love it.